Welcome back. It is Thursday, March 14th in the NBA. My four best bets are on the way. It's Austin from Calling Our Shot, back from the home studio, back from vacation, and it's Pie Day. We're going to absolutely dominate, go 4-0. I'm feeling a really good day on the way with our picks. But before we do that, we do need to recap how we did yesterday, although I really don't want to. It was an 0-3 day. Now, a lot of people will come on here and make some excuses. At the end of the day, there's some bad picks, some bad reads, some bad shooting performances, anything in between. Pretty much just summarized how March has been so far, just in the NBA. Now, as for our picks in March, we're down about 0.75 units, so almost break even on the month. But like Fox just didn't deliver. The Heat, I don't think Logan or I will be betting anything related to the Heat for the rest of the season. We just hate that team. And then the Pacers on the back-to-back with the OT, so really didn't have a chance to cover that. Also didn't shoot too well. 0-3 day. Look, we're gonna have bad days in here. There's a reason we're up 39 units. We're not gonna let those bad days affect how we're gonna bet the next day. So manage your bankroll. We're sticking to 1 unit plays today, and we got 4 of them. And we're gonna dive right into them. Logan will join us for his favorite picks of the day later on in the video. We'll talk about that in a second. But without further ado, I got nothing else to yap about. We went 0-3, whatever. We're going to move on. Hopefully we can go 4-0 and dominate. I'm just excited to be back in the home studio, be back on the normal videos, and excited to get back on a hot streak because I know the props haven't really been too dialed in lately. Been some, like I said, March has been really bad for a lot of teams, a lot of bad shooting, and the officiating's been here in this. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about some NBA. First pick of the day, my best bet of the day, will be Mr. Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets over 22.5 points, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, I would take this at 23.5. This is my best bet of the day. Still sticking to just 1 unit, although if you're looking for a pick that you're like, Austin, I only want to take one of your picks, this will be the one. I honestly was close to making this a 2-unit play, but props just have not been too dialed in lately. So I want to dial those back in before we start up in the units. But I really like Jalen Green tonight back at home taking on the Wizards. Now, a lot of people were on Green in this last game, and I honestly was going to be one of them. I only gave out, I think, 1 or 2 props in the last day. He was going to be my third one. But we look at Green in that last game. Obviously, Alperen Sengun likely out for the year. You saw his line at 23.5, and it was just a bad game against the Spurs. He went 5 of 16, scored 16 points, did play 37 minutes. And it was just a slow-paced game. I mean, Logan had the Spurs team total under in that one. That one cashed. But they only shot 80 field goal attempts against the Spurs. Just a really weird game. Now they're back at home. They still have no Sengun, obviously. No Cam Whitmore, 2 off the bench. And they get the Wizards, a team that we know plays super fast. And neither of these two teams really have much rim protection. I mean, you saw last game, they started Jabari Smith Jr. at center. Well, the Wizards have been doing basically the same thing, starting Kuzma at center. So they have no rim protection. And I really think this is a spot where Jalen Green bounces back here. We've seen in his last 10 games where he shot 15 or more times and had 30 or more minutes played. He's averaged 27.4, going over this line in 8 of 10. I mean, like I said, the 15 and 10, 15 field goal attempts, 30 minutes, that honestly feels like the floor for Jalen Green in a game last game where he's played 37 minutes, only shot 16 times, was a super slow-paced game against the Spurs. He still cleared and easily shot 15 or more times and played well above 30 or more minutes. I mean, this season, it's kind of been an up-and-down roller coaster for Jalen Green, which is kind of how his normal seasons go because you normally see him not play well on the road, plays really well at home. It's been a roller coaster like that, but it's been different in sort of the sense that, well, Ime Udoka sometimes benches him in some of that case, and you don't see Jalen Green play a ton of minutes randomly. That's not really the case these days because Jalen Green has to play a lot because they're so banged up and they need scoring. And facing a team like the Wizards, team with no rim protection, I think this is a great spot for him to get back on track. We know Jalen Green is not afraid of shooting 20, 25 times. And if he gets it going, which he normally does play a lot better at home, I think this 22.5 points line is super low for him. He's going to drive to the hoop. Let's hope he gets to the free throw line too, but hopefully he just knocks down his shots. But like I said, Kuzma at center, I'll have to take Jalen Green. I think this is a great spot to back him. So give me his over 22.5 points, my first pick of the day. Now the second pick, typically this would be where I segue to Logan. I say, hey Logan, what's your favorite pick of the day? However, he is not here today. Now, you might be like, Austin, what happened to Logan? Well, he's actually in Florida and his internet is so bad that he can't actually be here to record. So I'm going to give you the sell job on Logan's pick. It's all Logan, 100% backed by him. He typed it up for me and I'm going to give it to you, plus a strong lean that he really likes. And it's going to be a pick that you guys absolutely hate, but Logan's been really good on the spreads since we brought him onto the NBA videos. And you don't be good on the spreads by just taking square things. So you got to get a little bit nasty sometimes. And this one's pretty nasty. Taking the Sixers plus 8.5 minus 105 on ESPN Bet. Now, there is a chance this line goes up as the day goes on, as let's be honest, no one is running out to back the Philadelphia 76ers on the road taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, obviously, we look at both these two teams, both just got blown out. Bucks got smoked by the Kings. on the road, and the Sixers got smoked by the New York Knicks in a game they did not break 80 points. Now, Philly has really struggled recently, and let's not sugarcoat it. Joel Embiid obviously still out here. No one's going to be running out to back Tyrese Maxey and the Sixers, and I think there's a chance they can keep this game close, if not even win outright against Milwaukee. Milwaukee has been a team that has really struggled these days, especially defensively. Now, some would say, hey, post All-Star break, the defense was looking good. Well, they played a lot of bad teams. So while you could say, hey, Philly does fit the category of being a bad team, I still do think that this is a team in Philadelphia that needs to get up and down, and that's where they kind of want to play, is in transition. When you get into the half court, which is what the Knicks make you do, get to the half court, yeah, you're really going to struggle. But the Bucks have just struggled really just defensively recently. They've allowed 123.5 points per game over the last 4 games. That's not great if you're trying to cover an 8.5 line. On the season, though, Milwaukee, 20th in points in the paint allowed. Now, despite having Giannis and Brook Lopez, they're letting guys get into the paint and score. That's where we want Maxey to go. We don't want, Tyrese Maxey settling for 30-footers. That's not what we want. We want to get into the mid-range, get into the free throw line, get into the paint and score in there, putting some pressure on the Bucks defense. And when you put pressure on the Bucks defense, you typically can have pretty good days. And while you look at the last few games for the Sixers, they haven't broken 80 points. Yeah, not ideal. And it's unlikely they will cover 8.5 if they don't score at least 80 points tonight. But they've also, just been missing some open looks. So while you could say, hey, the talent isn't there, they have some guys that we know are capable of some good games. Buddy Hield off the bench. He's capable of going out there making 7 threes. That could happen. Kelly Oubre Jr., capable of good games. Tobias Harris, I don't know if he's capable of a good game. I won't lie to you. Tobias sucks. But hopefully he gets something going, because he has been absolutely getting ridiculed on social media. And hopefully he saw those things. He comes out and plays aggressively here. But at the end of the day, Philly had the opportunities to cover against the Knicks. They just weren't making their shots. And I think they're going to get opportunities tonight, which is all we can ask for. All we can ask for is them to get those shots. And we've seen Philly, sure, they're 13th in points in the paint in the NBA. Obviously a little bit skewed with Embiid out there. But the Sixers still a top 10 defense. They've been really good defensively. Still are holding the Knicks to not great games. And despite, that last game, the Knicks couldn't miss from 3. But Sixers are also 9th in points per game allowed on the road, 7th in three-point percentage. We know Nick Nurse, a great defensive coach regardless of personnel. He's going to give them a chance here today, and he's going to make this team play pretty aggressively. Coming off a game they just got smoked in, but you could say the same thing for the Bucks. They'll bounce back, but I really do think this is a spot where we should trust the Sixers plus 8.5. We've seen these nasty spreads at the 8.5 have a chance for the back door, and I really think the Sixers play some scrappy defense today, and they got a good chance to cover that 8.5 number. Sure, is it nasty? Yeah. But I think they got a good chance here. Plus 8.5. I think it's a tad too many points to trust the Bucks at home. So give us the Sixers plus 8.5. Logan's favorite pick of the day. He did have a strong lean. It was a little personal in terms of his lean. It was on the Bulls. The team total under 103.5. Obviously, the Bulls coming off a massive game. Logan was looking for a way to try to maybe take an alt team total. Maybe if you can bump up to like 109.5 is like a good parlay piece. It wasn't really anything Logan loved as an extra parlay piece there, but he really likes the Bulls invading them tonight under 103.5. Obviously coming off the overtime game last night. Caruso couldn't miss. You saw DeMar DeRozan going crazy. I think this is a good spot to fade the Clippers. The problem with the Clippers versus Bulls matchup is you really don't know who the heck's playing. Kobe White's now injured. Kawhi Leonard left last game with back spasms. No idea what's going on there. So I'm only going to have one pick from Logan. Now the final 2 picks of the day. We got 4 picks today. These final 2 are going to be some spicy ones, and we're talking about couple unders. Let's start with the first one on a televised game. Grayson Allen under 11.5 points, minus 105 on DraftKings. Now, personally, don't love it at 10.5. And hopefully it does not move down there. This was minus 105. So if it does get a little bit more juice throughout the day, I don't mind his pivot to an under 2.5 3-pointers for Grayson Allen. They kind of go hand in hand. Obviously, Grayson Allen, what he does most of is shooting threes. So if he doesn't make more than 3 threes, probably got a good chance I cash in this one. Now, I actually really like this spot to fade Grayson Allen with the Suns' big 3 finally healthy. They obviously haven't played a ton of games fully healthy, but Booker returned last game, played 38 minutes, no minutes restriction there. Durant's healthy, and Bradley Beal is healthy. Now, on the bench, you got some guys that aren't necessarily 100% healthy. Nasir Little, who has missed, I think, since February 25th. Don't quote me on that. He is expected to return. Eric Gordon is a guy that is questionable. Well, obviously, we would love if Eric Gordon returned tonight, but if he doesn't, I'm not too worried about Grayson Allen either way. I like his under tonight. Now, why are we fading Grayson? Now, on the year, Grayson is averaging 13 points per game, so is above this line. Now, 67% of his points come via the catch and shoot 3-pointer. Now, why do I say that? Because over the last 10 games, Boston has not been a team that you get a lot of catch and shoot opportunities against. In fact, last 10 games allowed the fewest catch and shoot made threes and the 4th fewest catch and shoot 3-point attempts. Now, honestly, when I was doing the research for this, I was looking at, honestly, any of the big 3s overs, because what this Celtics defense does, is they make your guys go one-on-one and beat them like that. That is why I don't know why my camera's glitching, but the first day back, you never know what's going to happen with the computer. But at the end of the day, that's what they're going to make you do. They're going to trust Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum defensively. They're going to say, you know what, Kevin Durant, go make some contested shots over one of our defenders. We're going to live with that instead of, hey, Kevin Durant's driving, let's double, force a kick out to Grayson Allen, knock down some threes. That's not their defense. That's just not what they've done. And even though Kristaps is out, Al Horford's down there, Luke Cornett's down there, and they're not going to change up their defensive game plan. And there's a reason why. Just a few games ago, even with Devin Booker out of that game, versus Boston at home, you saw Grayson Allen played 39 minutes. He shot 3 for 8, went under this line, 7 points, 0 for 4 from 3. Now, obviously, the 0 for 4 from 3, not ideal. Well, ideal for us if he's breaking shots, but he's typically not going to shoot 0 for 4 from 3. This guy's shooting about 45, 46% on the season. At the same time, that was also without Booker, so the 8 field goal attempts could be a pretty bit high. Now, in Booker's return last game, versus Cleveland, we saw him shoot a ton of times, and while Grayson Allen did go over this line, he only had 6 field goal attempts. He just happened to go 4 for 5 from 3. Sure, tip the cap to him. If you shoot 6 times tonight, I'd probably put 2 units on this because then you're going to ask him to have to be a super efficient against a terrible matchup. End of the day, you look at the other lines for Grayson Allen. Him to make 4 threes is plus 260 on FanDuel. If you think he makes 4 threes, something he's done in 3 of his last 4, could do in some good matchups, then sure, take the 4 plus 3s at plus 260. But that's a pretty good indicator. They really don't expect him to make 4 threes. And this season, when he's made less than 4 threes, under 3.5, he's averages 10.1 points per game, going under in 65% of games. When he's under 2.5 threes, which keep in mind is about minus 140 on sharpest books in the world, like Pinnacle, he's under this line in 76% of games. Could Grayson Allen go out there and make 4 threes and 5 attempts? Yeah, he did that last game. But at the same time, could go out there, not get a lot of open opportunities, shoot 4 times. Yeah, that could also happen too. They got Booker, they got Durant, they got Beal, they got 3 guys that have high usage, and Grayson Allen's kind of that 4th guy. They're like, yo, we need you out there to space the floor, but this is not a good spot for him for catch and shoot opportunities. So when Grayson tonight goes 5 of 5, doesn't shoot a lot, but makes every single shot, you know why? Because I took his under, but I'm going to keep rolling with the unders. Eventually, we're going to get some good luck where the guys just aren't making shots, and we've been taking some guys in bad spots, and they've just been really efficient. This is a bad spot for Grayson Allen. Let's trust that the Celtics stay close to him, make him make some tough shots, and if he wants to make them, sure, but I think he'll lean more towards missing them. So Grayson Allen, take his under 11.5 points. 4th and final pick of the day is another under, and it is a guy by the name of DeAndre Ayton. Under 32.5 points plus rebounds, minus 118 on FanDuel. Now, personally, this was 32.5 on FanDuel. A lot of books did not have a line for DeAndre Ayton or really any Blazer because they are on a back-to-back. There's no guarantee who the heck plays for the Blazers tonight. There's even no guarantee DeAndre Ayton plays tonight. If he doesn't, we'll drop down to 3 picks. But I anticipate him playing tonight. Maybe Jeremy Grant returns. Maybe Anthony Simons plays. I have no idea. But either way, I'm okay fading DeAndre Ayton tonight. I'll talk about why. Now, if you've been fading Ayton recently, you've been getting cooked because he's actually been really good. Over his last 10 games, DeAndre Ayton has averaged 21.4 points per game and 13.8 rebounds per game. Good for 35.2 points plus rebounds, going over the line actually in 7 of his last 10. So why are we taking it under? I mean, this guy's been cooking. Well, he's been feasting on some pretty bad offense, pretty bad defenses, and some pretty good matchups. You saw last night, he cooked the Hawks. He had like 33 points and 19 rebounds. Sure, the Hawks don't play literally any defense in the paint. You saw other games against the Raptors, who don't have a starting center or the Pirtle out. He feasted against the Hornets, who have been better defensively, but more against guards, not against centers. He's also had 2 pretty good games against Jokic. Didn't get a lot of rebounds, but scored well because Jokic, that's typically the matchup you want to attack, get to your center. However, there are a lot of ways where DeAndre Ayton can go under here. Number 1, he just played 41 minutes, is on a back-to-back. We've always questioned over his whole career DeAndre Ayton's energy and just his aggressiveness on a night-to-night basis. He's been aggressive the last 10 games, but on a back-to-back after played 41 minutes in a tough game, will he be aggressive against the Knicks, a team that will not give him easy buckets? I don't know. Number 2, there is a blowout potential. They are 11.5 point underdogs, and despite the Knicks not being great, they've been much better with OG Anunoby, who should play tonight, and this could be a blowout. It is a back-to-back. The Blazers just had a tight game against the Hawks all the way to the wire. And number 3, this is not a good matchup for DeAndre Ayton. Over the last 15 games, the Knicks have allowed the second fewest points per game and the fewest rebounds per game to centers. This is a really, really tough matchup. So the last center to actually go over this line against the Knicks was Jokic on January 25th. Guy before that was Joel Embiid on January 5th. So Sure, while DeAndre Ayton's been really good, he's feasted against some really bad matchups, and I just don't like this matchup at all for him. This is just a really tough matchup. Isaiah Hartenstein will play tight defense on him. He'll make life difficult. There's also a low over-under. The over-under is like 206.5, so not expecting a ton of points here. And the Knicks just don't give up a lot of rebounds to opposing centers. Hartenstein's going to crash the boards. He's going to have to box him out. Maybe some rebounds go to the other guys. But at the end of the day, I don't like this matchup at all for DeAndre Ayton, and I think there's just too many ways for us to cash out here. Number one, like I said, we need Ayton to play, but will he play his 40 minutes again? Unlikely on a back-to-back. Number two, will he shoot as well as he has the last few games? Unlikely on a back-to-back. And number three, terrible matchup. I mean, there are just too many ways here where Ayton goes under. He could come in here and just not be energized. He has not played a back-to-back in a hot minute. And there's no guarantee he plays tonight. I just think this is a good spot to fade DeAndre. And I think there's a reason a lot of books don't have lines for him. But hopefully the lines stay around 31.5, 32.5 for Ayton. So I really think this matchup is just terrible for him. Sure, he's been really good and he could make me put my foot in my mouth. But I really don't like this spot for him. So I will fade DeAndre Ayton. Hopefully he plays. And if he does, I really think we had a good chance of cashing this under 32.5 points plus rebounds. I mean, look, he could have 20 and 12, a really good game, still go under that line. So I think the line's a tad too steep for DeAndre, and I will take his under and hopefully not live to see the consequences. So those are my favorite picks of the day. Obviously, we're taking Ayton's under. We're taking Grayson Allen's under in just points, and then Logan's got Sixers plus 8.5. And my best of the day, Jalen Green over 22.5 points. I love all four of these picks today. I think we're in for a 4-0 sweep. It feels good to be back. I love you guys. You guys have a wonderful day. If you want to go check out the 2 New Zealand videos I have had on the second channel, go show them some love. They're both linked on the screen. And there's another ESPN video, how, behind the scenes of the ESPN interview, which is really cool. So go check out that. Another New Zealand video popping up soon, probably tomorrow though. So stay tuned for that. It's Austin signing out. Hopefully Logan's back to join us tomorrow, and I'll see you guys then. Peace.